my writing is a lot about like decolonial process and like thinking about your history or thinking about what you've gone through through a specific lens. I was trying to like challenge myself and see to what extent my decolonial practice could like go to. Yeah, and the second aspect was that, so basically I've worked a lot with museums before I applied for the MFA, and my main practice professionally had to do with being an oral historian, and that included working for like museum exhibits, and it also included like curating an actual museum. So I'm from Pakistan, I'm an international student here, and
the acrylic one, like I'm hitting myself really hard, like I had experience of when I was frustrated with myself, I hit myself with fists, and I kind of incorporated that into, well, I can make a painting with that, but with sponges soaked in pigment, so I don't hurt myself, and in the process making a piece of art or making a painting. And the way I see it, it's very much violent, right? The splash of the color, I saw it as kind of the splash of blood or brain, from acts of violence, like from war, where that's what I experienced a lot through visual medium, like videos and movies, and that's one element from it. But then deep behind it, it's about the legend of Chan Buddhism, and ultimately the destruction of self, the emptiness of self, and how you're enduring. It's about tolerance, tolerating the harm, and especially like the harm inflicted by yourself. And yeah.
And then you like use it. I mean, it's like double. I
really like her ideas. I already have the basic work I'm going to do. I think I could. So.
Hi, my name is Andrea Guskin. I'm a contemporary visual artist. So I often use in my work materials. I like to use ubiquitous, kind of ordinary materials that you might find around in any home, such as matches, tape, thread, cord, rubber bands. In one of the pieces in the show, which was actually formed in my husband's country of Trinidad, became a mix of objects that were found, that I brought with me from the States, and objects in Trinidad. But again, I like to use pieces that most people would have available in their house, and also with a particular fascination in tools for mending: string, thread, cord, and tape.
I'm originally from Iran, but I live in the United States now. I'm a visual artist, a poet, and also sound artist. It all started when I was translating my poems with the poet Patrick James Dunnigan. Moving here, all Iranians are just kind of like scattered around the world. How do you want to just give just kind of like announce the publishing of your book? That's why I started to make objects from my book. I have a typewriter which my mom gave me when I was in Iran, so I'm into very metal smithing in a lot of blacksmithing, metalsmithing, and in general interested in metal. So I started using copper sheets that I brought also from Iran, and then type it with a type machine and just kind of like a copper sheet. And then just kind of for me was this very ritualistic practice that you were typing it, patinate it, and then just leave it to just kind of bring it into life. And then instead of publishing a book, why not having a garden of book? And then they're like a mirage, you can never read them. We started to make a performance. They just like with the recorded sound of me reciting the poems and my interaction with the objects.
The material itself is the result, is the form by itself. I don't need to do anything. It's just kind of like being in a luggage, bring it from Iran. It made all these folding and also wrinkles that by light you can just bring those out, and it's by itself is a piece that I don't need to do anything to it. It seems finished.
Okay, thank you for coming, and this is the final lecture event for Decentering the Archive.
So the way we've kind of framed this discussion is that I have a background and experience in the museum world, and the archive, and the formal institutional world, and can speak to that perspective on how museums, libraries, archives, galleries manage indigenous collections, including specifically California basketry. But Alice is actually a overlay surveying, and should we be doing this for the next 100 years just because we did it for the last 100 years? So.
Right. I agree. And again, times have changed, relationships have changed, the world has changed, and hopefully we're